art can teach an individual so many things.
One looks at our species, we're the only species to create art.
I think art is a manifestation of a human need to externalize feelings.
I think art has a critical role to play, especially around the development of cultures.
We have a fantastic collection of African art and contemporary art from South Africa, which probably amounts to around about 10,000 objects.
The collection is comprised of the classical or traditional African art pieces like headrests and staffs, but there's also another component which has fine art, if you like, contemporary South African work and some historical South African work. And one of the most exciting things that conjunction allows us to do is to be able to work with pieces from across the collections, because there are all sorts of conversations that can be generated by artworks produced in different contexts but being positioned together in an exhibition.
I always would say it will be people who would say I'm a contemporary African artist, but I don't have to prove a point that I'm an African artist, because we share the same stage with the global world. One needs to look back where we come from as a nation. We know that now we are under democracy, but glimpses of the 50s and the 60s were part of our lives, and it's part of our history. Those are some of the things that we sort of rewrite as the people who are living and in a cultural manner. The Steve Biko, in all the years that I've painted, it has become the outstanding piece and good for the Wits. They've got a hell of a piece in their collection.
Wits has had a collection for a number of years, slowly growing, both of work done by students who have been at Wits and by other artists. And it's both a teaching resource for the fine arts and history of art and cultural studies institution, but it's also a link between the university and specifically teaching and the rest of the city as one of the resources open to the city.
I think my first works, which some of the pieces are now part of the Wits Art Gallery, I dealt with how identities are created, especially black male identities created around notions of tradition, rites of passage, and how due to influences like education, in industry, and just the contemporary culture, the rite of passage has changed.
The significance of the collection within the South African context, I think, has to do with its scope. It's the only collection in South Africa that collects actively from the rest of the continent.
Archives or art galleries have a significant role to play in the sense that they are wells that keep our heritage and culture.
We have a fantastic plan for a new Wits Art Museum, which is on the corner of Jan Smuts and Jarrison Street, right in the center of Bromfontein, on the edge of campus, so it's really easily accessible. And we are developing a museum that has about 5 different exhibition spaces for simultaneous exhibitions, and the collection will then be really easily accessible.
I'd like to give you an opportunity to invest in one of the most important historical events in South Africa. Invest in the future, invest in the past. Make sure that African art stays in Africa for everybody. Let's make it accessible for everybody, and you and your commitment can make this possible.